You probably have. You just didn't know it was called that. All right, so today we're going to start by seeing linear equations written in standard form. Now, standard form is the form of the equation ax plus by equals c. A, b, and c are just numbers. C is referred to as a constant, right? Because we've already talked about before, a constant term in an equation is a term that does not have a variable, right? So C doesn't have a variable, that's why it's called a constant. All right, so basically they're going to give us a linear equation, and it's in standard form. What's my A right here? What's my B? A 1. What's my C? 3. Okay, and then X and Y just stay where X and Y are. Okay, now we're going to rewrite it so it's in slope-intercept form. Now, what is slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. All right, so we want to change it so it looks like y equals mx plus b. Now, the reason we want to practice doing that is because in a little bit we're about to graph the slope-intercept form. So we can't graph from this. All right, we can, but we have to do some other stuff to it. All right, so we want to make it look like y equals mx plus b so that we have something to graph. All right, so we want to get y by itself. So y'all remember, like in Unit 1, we rearranged formulas that had more than one variable, right? So that one variable was by itself. That's what we're doing right here. So we will move everything that's with the y on the same side of the equals with the y to the other side. So what's on the same side of the equals with the y? 2x. So it's a positive 2x, so it's being added. So how do I get rid of 2x? Subtract 2x. Now, when I subtract 2x, are the 3 and the 2x like terms? No, one's a constant. You don't have a variable. One has a 2x, is an x, right? So copy your y, because it's already by itself, and you put the x part in front, because that's what slope-intercept form does, and then that's a positive 3 plus 3. Now it's in y equals mx plus b form. There's my answer. So we're just rearranging to make it look like slope-intercept form. A little bit more work. So any questions on G? Now, that's how you do it if your B term is a 1. Okay? Usually just one step. If your B term is a 1, nice and easy. All right? So over here, my B term is a 5 now, right? So it's going to be a little bit more work. All right. Again, we're trying to get the Y by itself. Yes. First, we're going to subtract 4x on both sides. I'm going to have to lose my bracelets. I'm all for supporting autism awareness, but not right now. All right. So that just cancel out. And I'm left with, 5y. Lord have mercy, Miss Isbell. 5y equals, now those are not like terms, are they? That's a negative 4x, and that's a positive 30. So negative 4x plus 30. All right, any questions on this step? All right, now it's 5 times y, right? So now we got to divide both sides by y. Here's my hint to you to save you some time. Go ahead and divide every term by 5. Divide every term by 5. So 5 divided by 5 cancels out. And then you just simplify your fractions. So there's y by itself. Is negative 4/5 simplify? So it's negative 4/5 x. There's your slope. And then what's positive 30 divided by 5? Positive 6 plus 6. So does that look like it's in slope-intercept form now? Yes. And there we go. And there's my final answer. I'm just showing you that's my final answer. And y'all, it's really okay if you get fractions, because a lot of times slopes are fractions because we have a rise over run, right? All right, problem I. All right, we want to get y by itself. Now, these are all in the same format, right? They're all in standard form, ax plus by equals c. So they all look alike to start with. Pretty much just different numbers, right? So there's my y. I want to move everything away from it. So what do you think we're going to do first? Good. Add 6x. So I'm going to copy 4y equals what? 6x plus 20. They're both positive, right? Now, what do you think we're going to do to get rid of 4? Divide all your terms by 4. So then we can simplify, right? So 4 divided by 4 cancels out, leaves me with just y. What does 6 over 4 reduce to? 3 over 2. Very good. 3 halves, whatever you want to call it. Plus, what's 20 divided by 4? 5, and that's positive, so plus 5. And there we go. Same thing over and over. Just different numbers.
My sister, that's in 4th grade, like kind of like coming into a place like bigger equation with fractions. Like she hates it. And then I had to help her last night. I was like, I don't know what to do. We look like this.
Fraction quizzes.
No, it's just like
Fraction quizzes.
No, like
Fraction quizzes.
It wasn't a fraction. It's like the way that they set it up. It's something like the Grand Canyon. It's like one.
And we're having to stop algebra class to hear about the Grand Canyon problem.
1 3/4, and then like it's at the ocean
Mixed numbers.
6 times
Yeah.
that amount, and then it was a bunch of mess. I was like, I don't even know how to do it.
Oh my gosh.
Scrambled up some stuff that I
Honors Algebra 1 can't do 4th grade. Crazy.
didn't know what to do.
All right, Jay. We're going to get y by itself on problem J. How do you think we do that? Do we add x or subtract x? Yeah, it's positive in front, so we do the opposite of that, of what's in front of it, which is subtract. All right. So I've got 5y equals what? Negative x minus 15. They're both negative. Now, okay, y'all, what number's in front of that x? Negative 1. It's promised to you it's going to be a lot easier to think about if you put a 1 there. Now what? Divide every term by 5. So, because you see how it's easy to see what that is now? It's negative 1/5. Okay, because if not, who's like, what does negative x mean? Okay, so it's negative 1/5 x minus what's 15 divided by 5? 3. So y'all okay with those minuses? It don't have to be a plus. This could be a plus or minus because it's the y-intercept. Y-intercepts can be negative. All right. All right. Now, I haven't done one with the b negative, but I want y'all to try it anyway. I want y'all to try it anyway. Honors class. No. My favorite Algebra 1 class I get to teach all day. No lie. Y'all are. After y'all, I'm in the geometry world all day.
That sounds like fun.
Which one do you like better? Both. For different reasons. I like doing the math in this class better. The math and geometry is boring, but it's logical thinking. So it's like a totally different way of teaching. It challenges me. Not everybody has common sense.
That's true. We are doing it now.
Proving line parallel. So the angle pair relationships like alternate interior angles, exterior, consecutive interior, corresponding. Yeah. All right, make it look like slope-intercept form. I'm gonna lose battery. It says I have 2 hours remaining. We'll see. I don't believe it. All right, what did y'all do first to get y by itself? Subtract 3x. This is positive to start with, is it not? The opposite of positive is subtraction. You don't go after it. You go before it. You look in front of it. You always look in front of it to know something's signed. You don't look behind it. Okay, you look in front of it. All right. Everything carries your sign in front. All right. So, what did that happen? It scrolled on me. I'm subtracting 3x, or I'm trying to if my pen would work. So negative 2y equals negative 3x minus 14. Now I'm dividing everything by what? Negative 2. So we got to watch our signs. Not necessarily positive. Go away. Maybe later. Shut up. Go away. What? How does this thing go away? Like, go away. Got it. I don't care about you, Cortana. This is like the Siri of this computer, and I don't know how to shut her up. Yes. Like, I'm trying to tap. Go home. Go somewhere. Where's she at? Go away. Okay. Jeez. Feel sorry for people watching this video. Okay. Sorry, guys. All right. So, y'all, okay. So, don't think that it always changes the sign because it just depends on what they are. Does that make sense? So, you got to do the math. So, this one, a negative divided by a negative is a what? Positive. So, that's a positive 3 over 2x. Did y'all get that? And then that's a negative 14 divided by negative 2, which is what? Raise your hand if you got y equals 3 over 2x plus 7. Y'all are too smart for me. Good job. All right, let's get out our graph paper. That's perfect. Yeah, that's how I like it anyway. I like mine in a tablet. That's how I like it. That's how I like mine. Then I can rip it out and put it in my notebook. But should I just like keep it? However you want it. Your notes. All right. So now we're moving on to graphing with slope-intercept form. So we've just practiced writing equations in slope-intercept form and getting equations in slope-intercept form. Now we're going to practice graphing in slope-intercept form. All right. First of all, what is slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. And M represents the slope, and B represents the y-intercept. What does y-intercept mean? Where you cross the y-axis, right? So when you graph with slope-intercept form, you're always going to start with your y-intercept. That's the first point you will graph. Y'all please write down this problem. And draw you a little x and y axis on your graph paper. We're doing graph paper now. I got graph paper. You need graph paper. I know my graph paper is hard to see. Me and Miss Hayes worked on it this morning trying to get it a little bit. Yeah, but that's the darkest it'll let my lines go, and I try to brighten up everything else and turn my lights off. I tried. Yes. Step 2 isn't completely factual. No. All right, go ahead and draw your x and y axis. Y'all gonna have to be fast at drawing these suckers. We got 1,000 examples today. You have to put an equal 0 at every step. How many you got? Now, well, you kind of use your information from there to tell you. Your y-intercept is -1, so you got to be able to go down to -1 at least, and then you got to go up 3 into the right 2 for me. I didn't draw mine too huge because my numbers aren't very big. Now, if your y-intercept is kind of far away from the origin, then that kind of lets you know how big to make your graph. Yes, it is. All right. So before you graph, you first need to start with your y-intercept. Now, what is our b on number 1? Y'all should be, that should be automatic. What's my b? -1. So y'all look in here. You plot a point at -1 on the y-axis. Now, where is -1 on the y-axis? You start at the origin and go down 1, right? Everybody put a point right there. You always start with your y-intercept. So your B terms, what you always start with when you're graphing a line. Everybody with me? Now what's my slope? 3/2. What's my rise? 3 is my rise and 2 is my run. Right? So you start at that point you've already graphed. You don't start at the origin. You don't start on the x-axis. You start on that y-intercept point you just graphed. And you're going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't put a point there. You're going to run to the right 2. You always run to the right. Up 3/2. That's your second point. Y'all with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Rise up 3 to the right 2. Y'all with me? Y'all need to pay attention right here. This is important. All right. After you have your 2 points, I want you to draw a straight line through those points. I'm trying to. Apparently, my thing can't read my graph. My line's not very straight. Put arrows on it. It's not a line if it doesn't have arrows on it. I missed my point. I apologize. And that's how you graph a line with slope-intercept form. Okay? That's how you graph a line with slope-intercept form. You start with your y-intercept, and then do rise over run to do your next point. Draw a straight line between. Okay? All right. That's it. That's what you do's. That's what my Jonah says. He don't say does. He says do's. What you do? You got graph paper. Yeah. All right, y'all write down number 2 and draw your graph. Get a little bit better. Is this one in slope-intercept form? Is that equation in slope-intercept form? Yes, and I'm going to ask you that because there's going to be some in a little bit that's not going to be in slope-intercept form. That we'll have to use what we just learned to do that. All right, what's my B in this one? 2. B is 2. So that is my y-intercept, right? So that means I graph the point 0, 2 on the y-axis. Now where is 0, 2 on the y-axis? Where's 0, 2 on the y-axis? Not right 2. Up 2. The y-intercept better be on the y-axis. Okay? The y-intercept always goes on the y-axis. What's my slope? -4 over what? 1. You got to have a run. So if you have a whole number slope, put it over 1. You got to run somewhere. Okay? So -4 is my rise. 1 is my run. So you start at the point you graphed on the y-axis, and we're going to go where? Up or down? Down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, and where do we run? Over is not a direction. Right 1. Always run right. Okay? So we go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Over to the right 1. And plot our second point. And then after you do 2 points, you can draw a line. Now, there are some mean teachers that make you do the slope countless times, right? Y'all ever had one of those? Mine will not let me use my ruler and my thing at the same time. Touch screen. Touch screen problems. Hang on. Turn that off, maybe. Yeah. My arrows look terrible. Make sure you put arrows on it. That's a pet peeve of mine. I do count off on quizzes if you don't put arrows on your line. It's technically wrong. Without arrows, it makes it a segment, not a line. Lines are continuous forever. All right, any questions about number 2? Anybody? Okay. Number 3, write down number 3 and draw yourself a graph. Do y'all see how I kind of made this graph like more up on top? Y'all see how I did that? Why did I do that? Because I'm having to go all the way up to 3, right? So yeah, I let my y-intercept help me know how big to draw my x and y axis. Does that make sense? It'll say paper. Or in my case, screen space. Because my screen don't hold very big graphs. I ain't gonna lie. It might hold like 12 spaces. That's it. What do you start with graphing a line? Y-intercept, your B. What's my B? B is 3. Which is where? On the y-axis at the point 0, 3, right? Up 3 from the origin. Always, always, always. Y'all, if I can look at a graph really quick and see if it's wrong if you don't have a point on the y-axis. So in your quiz tomorrow, hello, quiz tomorrow, your first point better be on that y-axis, or you're going to miss everything about your graph. All right? What's my slope? Yes. And when your slope is a negative, put your negative with the rise. Does that make sense? It's like sometimes the negative will be like out here, like in the front, in the middle of the fraction. Put the negative with the rise, because we always want to run to the right. All right, so I start there and I go where? Down 2. Where do I run? Right 3. So my second point's going to be right there at 3, 1. And draw you a line through it. So this gets really quick, right? Once you see what we're doing here, it gets quick, especially if it's on a worksheet and the graph thing is already drawn for you, right? So that's what it's going to be for you guys when you do your practice. And the quiz tomorrow. I mean, it'll all be right there in front of you. I just have to make you struggle a little bit in notes, right? Make you work for it. Uh-oh. Number 4 is different. Yeah. Number 4 is in what form? Standard form. But we can't graph from standard form. We got to graph from slope-intercept form, right? So we got to use what we just learned how to do a while ago and get it in slope-intercept form, which is what? What do we do to do that? Subtract 2x. Very good. So y equals what? Negative 2x plus 3. Now are we in slope-intercept form? Oh yeah, so now we're ready to graph. So draw your x and y axis. And again, since my y-intercept is 3, I kind of drew it more up in the top 2 quadrants. You don't have to do that. Some people that bothers. But I like to save paper. So when I'm graphing my line, what do I start with? That's not what I start with. Start with your B, right? Which is what number? Which is where? 0, 3 on the what? Y-axis. Y-intercept goes on the y-axis. Very good. I haven't wrote my slope yet. What is my slope? Negative 2 over 1. Whole number slopes, we want over 1. All right, what's my rise? Negative 2. What's my run? 1. So I start at 0, 3, and I go where? Down 2 and down 2, right 1. Okay. And another thing you can check at, let me draw my line, hang on. Another thing you can check on is make sure, look, a negative slope means you're going down from left to right with your graph. Does that make sense? And a positive slope needs to go up from left to right. Okay, so that's just a little quick check thing you can do right there. All right, any questions on number 4? Look, oops, what, okay. Technical difficulties this morning. It's okay. Not panicking. Okay, number 5. What's up with this? All right, number 5 is in standard form again, right? Not in slope-intercept form. So we've got to get y by itself. So how do I do that? Add 3x. Keep going. I'm with you if I can get my pen to write. Sugar. Touch screen. 2y equals 3x minus 6. Y'all agree? Now what? Divide all your terms. Divide all our terms by 2. Or 3 over 2x, right? Okay. He's just jealous because somebody's participating besides him. Minus 3. You gonna sweep my floor? Because I did it yesterday because it's a hot mess. Alright. So is everybody okay with how we got that in slope-intercept form? Yes, ma'am. And then we simplified our fractions. 3 over 2 will simplify. Alright, so what's my B? B is negative 3. So that's why I drew my graph like this because my y-intercept is down there. Y'all see that? Okay. So 0, negative 3. And that's on the y-axis. First point. Always, always on the y-axis. Y'all know why I keep repeating myself about that? Because y'all, we have a quiz tomorrow. And there's always some that graphing on the x-axis. Or graphs it like way over here in the quadrant somewhere. Alright? Always, always, always start on your y-axis. There better be a point on your y-axis. Alright? What's the slope? 3 over 2. What's my rise? 3. So I rise up 3 and I run to the right how many? 2. And that one happens to be on the x-intercept. That one's kind of cute because it's on both axes. On my crooked bumpy line. Because my ruler's giving me a fit. Just make sure you put arrows on it. I'm not a super stickler for perfectly straight lines, but y'all have rulers, so try to do good. Does anybody have a question about graphing these lines so far? If you're confused about something, you like doing this? My screen is having fun with me, but I do like it. All right. Is everybody understand what we're doing? I don't want to run off and leave nobody because this is important. Look at number 6. What the much? Okay. It kind of looks like slope-intercept form because it says y equals, right? Well, what's wrong with it? They're just reversed, aren't they? Okay, so we don't have to like resolve or anything. All I have to do is swap places. Because the x part goes in the front because that's where the slope is, right? Now, when I reverse their order, you keep the sign in front of them, right? So that's a negative 3x, and that's a positive 4, so put plus 4. You just swapped them, yep. But just make sure whatever sign they had in front of them, they keep that sign. Does that make sense? All right, now is it in slope-intercept form? Yeah, what's my B? B is 4. So that's going to be 0, 4 on the y-axis. That's why I drew this graph looking like this. What's my slope? Negative 3 over 1. So where do I rise to? Up or down? Down 3. And where do I run to? Right 1. And then draw you a straight line. Oh, my serious boy, you missed that big fat point. A little better. Put arrows on it. I didn't use a ruler. Well, there's a little bit right there. All right, questions? So that one you just had to watch order. So if it says y equals, just kind of look at it. All right. Now we're getting into like the special cases, right? Y'all with me? We're looking at special case scenarios. What's special about this one? It don't have a B. Well, actually it does. The B just has no value. What number has no value? 0. 0. So isn't this the same thing as negative 3/4x plus 0? Because adding 0 to something don't change its value. So that's why they can leave it off. Y'all see that? So your B is there, it's just 0. Okay? Now what does that mean, B equals 0? It's the origin. That's right. So it's at 0, 0 on the y-axis. So this one, your y-intercept is the origin. Does that make sense? So if it doesn't have a B, that means your y-intercept is the origin. What's my slope? Negative 3/4. So I start at my origin this time and go where? Down 3, and to the right, how many? 4. Down 3 to the always run right, so your graph won't be wrong. Put your arrows on it. Questions? Okay, so if it don't have a B, your B is 0. All right. Woo-hoo. Another special one. This is one I'm going to need y'all to kind of memorize what to do. Y equals 2. No X. No B. Well, actually, there is a B. That's not 0. 2.
Oh, I know what it is.
Right? What is it? All lines are straight. All lines are straight. What's that called? What's the big word for that? Horizontal line. Yeah. Okay. Y'all need to memorize y equals a number, just a plain number, no x's. Just y equals a number is a horizontal line. Memorize it. Y equals a number is a horizontal line. You know what that means? That means every point on this line, the y value is 2. No matter what the x's are, the y values are always 2.
So it's going to be a horizontal line on
Yeah. So, look, here's how I remember it. You cross the y-axis at 2. So you go to 2 on your y-axis, and I've memorized that's a horizontal line. So you just draw your horizontal line. Boom. Boom.
That's cool.
Memorize it. Y equals a number. Any number is a horizontal line. What's the slope of this line?
Undefined.
Not undefined.
0.
0. Slope is 0.
It's undefined when it's inverted.
That's right. Y'all need to memorize that before you check your quiz tomorrow. Okay? Do I need to highlight this for you guys? Highlight it. Boom. Y equals a number is a horizontal line. Its slope is 0. Memorize it, memorize it, memorize it, memorize it, memorize it. Hint, hint, hint. Memorize it, highlight it. Okay. There you go. So guess what? It's on the quiz, right? Okay. Y equals a number, horizontal line. You just, to graph it, you just go the y. What's about number 9 then? It's a vertical line. Vertical line. The x values are always -3. So x equals a number is always a vertical line. Memorize it. Memorize it, memorize it, memorize it. Again, memorize it. X equals a number is a vertical line. What axis does a vertical line cross? Yeah, look, it tells you. This is crossing the x-axis at -3. Okay? x-axis at -3. So you go -3 on the x-axis, and it's x equals a number, so it's vertical. Okay, so y equals a number is a horizontal line. It crosses the y-axis at that number. X equals a number is a vertical line. It crosses the x-axis at that number. Okay, memorize it. What are we going to do about that? Memorize it. What's the slope of this line? Vertical line is undefined. Horizontal line, slope is 0. Good job. You guys try. Oh, I can't show them both. Can y'all try both of those? Can you see both of them? Okay. You just can't see the graph of number 2, but y'all try both of those. Put them in slope-intercept form if they're not already, and graph them. Let me know if you're stuck. I'm going to find some air conditioner. Sweatpants are hot.
6 and -12. Okay, and I'll write 2 binomial factors. X plus 6, x minus 12, that it? Equals 0. Next. So if it's x equals 0, that must mean y'all think this is completely factors, is that correct? Are they completely factors? Right? Solve the equation, what do I do? X equals -6. And what next? X equals +12. Be careful with your signs. Raise your hand if you got number 12 correct. Very good. Just be careful. It's just putting together what? Unit 3 and Unit 7, all right, number 13. Number 13. X squared plus 4x equals 21. Step 1. Is the equation set equal to 0? It is not. So now we can't move on into our factoring because the equation is not set equal to 0. Okay, so here's a good rule of thumb. How many terms do you have on the left side?
Quiet feet, Joseph.
One. Is it easier to move 2 terms or 1 term?
Like elementary. Quiet
How about we move 21 to the left side of the equation? What operation will we use? Subtraction, very good. So we're going to subtract 21 from both sides. Now let me ask you this. Is -21, is this a like term with 4x or x squared? No, it is not. Can you combine unlike terms by addition and subtraction? No, some of you need to quit trying. Okay? Quit combining unlike terms by addition and subtraction. X squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Now, does everyone see what order I put that in? Decreasing order by degree. Yes? And we said we wouldn't need that. Right? No, we never said we wouldn't need that. Okay? Now it's set equal to 0. Is it completely factored? No, it is not. All right, we have.
The first one should go really, really fast because it's already in slope-intercept form, right?
Make a table. 2 factors add equal 4 and multiply equal -21. All right, 2 factors with correct sign. -121. -37. It won't work. -37. Go right to binomials, split the middle term. 2 binomials. So I'm gonna have 2 minus 4 and make +7 equals 0. Now it is completely factored. Yes, it is. So we're going to take each binomial and set it equal to 0. X minus 3 equals 0. X plus 7 equals 0. How do I solve the equation x minus 3 equals 0? Have 3 on both sides. X equals 3. X plus 7 equals 0. How do I solve that? X equals 3.
All right, number 1, is that one in slope-intercept form? What's the y-intercept? 1. So we start our graph where? Axis at 1. So right there. Do y'all agree? What's the slope? -3 over 1. So I rise where? Down 3. And where do I run? Right 1. Raise your hand if your graph on number 1 looks like my graph. And you put arrows on it because you listen. Are there any questions about number 1? All right, number 2, is that one in slope-intercept form? No, what do you have to do first to get this one in slope-intercept form? Subtract 4x. And then you get 2y equals what? That's crazy looking. -4x plus 8. Everybody okay with that? Then what do? Divide everything by 2. -2x plus 4. Did y'all get that simplified to y equals -2x plus 4? Any questions about that? Because if we don't get the slope-intercept part right, we're not going to get our graph right either. So is everybody okay with this part? Any questions? All right, what's our y-intercept? 4. So we start at 0, 4 on the y-axis, which is right there. What's my slope? -2 over 1. So down 2 to the right 1. Stop moving, graph. And then you do a nice straight line. Raise your hand if you got number 2 correct. Are there any questions on graphing with slope-intercept form? All right. So we're going to learn another way to graph a line. Whoops. Write that down. We still are on graph paper. That is huge looking, isn't it? Wow. Maybe I can read it then. I like that one. Y'all write that down. This will be the last material that's on your quiz tomorrow. Solving and finding x and y intercepts. X equals -5.
Is it going to ask us to write the same equation on it?
Yep. Number 1, 2, and 3 on your quiz are right there. I don't know the order, but that's it. One of them asks you for the formula for slope. One of you asks for slope-intercept form. One asks for standard form. So those are the answers for 1, 2, and 3, but I'm not sure the order.
Sure you don't know the order?
I really don't know the order.
Really?
I haven't looked at it in 6 months. I'll make copies of it today.
No, we're gonna do. Subtract 7x from both sides. Very good. Do I have a like term today to 7x on that left side? -5x. Very good. Write it correctly underneath it. That way you can see it with the like term. Okay, that? So I just bring down x squared. What's -5x times 7? -12x. Bring down -64. And then write it equal 2. Step 1 is complete. Step 2 is not complete. What's the DCF? 1. Return to make a table. 2 factors add to equal. And multiply to equal. -64. All right, so +1, -64. 2 -32. All right, go in order for that.
Whoa. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. All right. So an intercept is where your graph crosses an axis, right? Obviously, the x-intercept is where your graph crosses the x-axis, and a y-intercept is where your graph crosses the y-axis, right? So we're going to graph using intercepts, and when we do, we're going to have 1 point on each axis to draw the line. Okay, to find the x-intercept is pretty easy, y'all. How to do it is really simple. Whichever intercept you're finding, listen, Taylor, whatever intercept you're finding, you plug 0 for the opposite variable. So if we're finding the x-intercept, we plug 0 in for y. If we're finding the y-intercept, we plug 0 in for x. Okay? So to find an intercept is real easy. You plug 0 in for the opposite. Okay? If I'm finding x, I plug 0 for y. If I'm finding y, I plug 0 for x. All right, here's an example. I'm not graphing this one. I'm just going to practice finding the intercepts. Okay? So there'll be some on your practice today that you don't even have to graph. You just have to find the x and y intercept. So here's the equation. 2x minus 5y equals 20. 2x minus 5y equals 20. Now I'm going to ask that when you find these intercepts that you label your work. Okay? Label your work. So tell me where you're finding the x-intercepts. Okay, I've just hooked that woman up again. So the x-intercept, I plug 0 in for what? Y. So I'm going to say 2x minus 5 times 0 equals 20. So where they had a y, I use parentheses and put a 0. So all I have to do is simplify that and solve the equation for x. And that'll tell me my x-intercept. Okay? So what is 5 times 0? So isn't 2x minus 0 just 2x? Yeah, so this simplifies to just 2x equals 20. Y'all with me? And then I divide by 2, and x equals 10. That means the point 10, 0 is my x-intercept. Because that's on the x-axis, right? 10 is my x value. It goes in the x spot.
So do we write our answer as an ordered pair or as x equals 10?
Both ways. Both. All right. So the y-intercept, let's label our work. How do we get a y-intercept? 0 for x this time. So 2 times 0 minus 5y equals 20. So 0 went in for the x spot. So that makes 0. And 0 minus 5y is just negative 5y, right? So negative 5y equals 20. How do I solve for y? Divide by negative 5 everywhere, and y equals negative 4. Now that's the y-intercept, so it's crossing the y-axis, so the point is 0, negative 4. So negative 4 goes in the y spot and 0 for the x. Does that make sense? We're going to leave them separate right now. In a second, we're going to graph using them. Okay, but if it just says find the x and y intercepts, that's how you do it algebraically. Put 0 in for the opposite term. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to skip some examples and we're going to do it with some graphs. Is that okay? Because if y'all do this part, then what we just did is just half of it, right? Right? Because we're going to do the same thing and then just graph it. All right, so we're skip the next two problems, if that's okay with y'all. There is no rhyme or reason to my numbering of problems in my notes. Yes. Okay, so now we're going to graph using the x and y intercepts. All right, so we're going to find the x and y intercepts and then graph the points and make a line. Okay? All right, so label your work, please. I got to get rid of all these things on that bottom bar or something. How do we get an x-intercept? 0 for y. So that's going to be negative 4x plus 2 times 0 equals 8. Plug 0 in for y. I'm really running out of battery. It wasn't going to last no 2 hours, was it? Okay. All right, so 2 times 0 makes 0, right? And negative 4x plus 0 is just negative 4x. So that is negative 4x equals 8. Now how do I solve for x? Divide by -4, and x equals -2. So that means the point -2, 0 is on my graph. Y'all will think the x goes in the x column. So y goes in for the other. All right. I'll wait and do it till, yeah. I'll wait and find both and then I graph. All right. And now how do I get a y-intercept? 0 for x. So -4 times 0 plus 2y equals 8. What's -4 times 0? So that leaves me 2y equals 8. How do I solve for y? Divide by 2. Y equals 4. What's my ordered pair for my y-intercept? 0, 4. So any questions about how we got the x and y intercepts? No. All right, when I graph them, y'all, listen. When you graph using intercepts, you better have one point on each axis. You're not going to have a point out here in a space somewhere. Right? You do that with slope-intercept form. But you don't do that when you're graphing with intercepts. So that's another quick way I can look and see if you're doing it right or wrong. Is everybody with me? All right. So -2, 0 is on what axis? Because it's the x-intercept. And 0, 4 is on the y-axis because it's the y-intercept. So when you graph with intercepts, you have a point on each axis. Okay? And then you draw your line and you're done. It's really not. That one took longer than the rest of them are going to take because I had to explain every little thing. And after that, we just roll with it. So 0 in for the opposite. That's the x-intercept, that's the y-intercept. Graph your 2 points, one on each axis, and then you do it. So you're going to, okay, on the quiz tomorrow, you're going to have to follow directions. If it says graph using slope-intercept form, then you're going to do y equals mx plus b, start on the y-axis, do rides over run. Right? If it says graph using intercepts, you got to plug 0 in for the opposite, get your 2 points, and graph them one on each axis. So you got to know the difference and be able to follow directions. Got it? All right. This one, we're still doing intercepts. Actually, yeah, let's do this one. I didn't draw a graph for whatever reason. It's okay. I can do it later. Yeah, let's graph. Why not? All right. How do I get an x-intercept? 0 for y. Okay. So that part makes 0, so that's just -2x equals 6, right? Right? Now what? Divide by -2, and x equals -3. So -3, 0 is the x-intercept. You okay with that? All right. So y-intercept. How do we get a y-intercept? 0 for x. So -2 times 0 plus 3y equals 6. So what can I write on my next row? 3y equals 6, right? Because that part canceled out because it's 0. And then how do I solve for y? Divide by 3. And y equals 2. So what was the ordered pair for my y-axis? 0, 2. All right, let me just draw it. I'll do it red over here. It's where I have space. So -3 goes on what axis? Ooh, skipped again. On the x-axis at -3. And the y-axis at 2. And draw a line. Oh, Sugarfoot, Mrs. Bull. Lord help her. I know. I know. I'm telling them, bless them. All right. So graphing with intercepts is pretty easy, right? It takes a little bit longer than slope-intercept form because you got to plug it in and do the algebra, but it's not so bad. Can y'all just watch me do this one? Y'all want to take a break and watch me? I want everybody watching. Nobody writing. Nobody doing anything. Everybody watching. So I can make sure we get it, right? If you're not understanding something, stop me right then and ask me a question. Or ask me to re-explain or something, okay? Got it? Okay. X-intercept. How do I get it? 0 for y. So that's going to be x minus 2 times 0 equals 4. Oh, that's just x equals 4, isn't it? Y'all see that was just x equals 4 because that negative 2 times 0 canceled out one away. So 4 0 is the ordered pair for the x-intercept. Very good. How do I get the y-intercept? So 0 minus 2y equals 4. So what's that? Negative 2y equals 4. Divide by negative 2 everywhere. Y equals negative 2. What's that ordered pair? 0, negative 2. So 4, 0 is on what axis? X-axis at 4. The y-intercept is at negative 2 on the y-axis. So I have a point on each axis when I'm graphing with intercepts. And then I try to draw a straight line without scooting all over the place. Lord help me. Hello, I need a pencil right here. Pencil. Y'all are laughing at me. Don't laugh at me. There we go. It's not letting me do a line. There we go. Arrows on it. Okay. So any questions on this? Y'all try one. Y'all try one. This will be our last example, I promise. I promise. And we'll do some practice. Do your X and Y intercepts, then graph the line. Everybody, let me know if you need some help. Yup. Read the directions. Put my sandwich in my refrigerator. All right, y'all check them with each other real quick. Okay, good. Okay, here's that. And the rest of the class are question and the practice we did all the front page. So we're gonna do that. Yeah, we're not gonna do all this today. But we did all the Are y'all looking like your neighbors? Somebody's wrong. Y'all don't be talking about it. Or you both might be wrong. Who knows? Okay, y'all help me out. How do we get an x-intercept? 0 in for y. So that's 3x minus 0 equals 3. Well, that just leaves me 3x equals 3, right? And I divide by 3, and x equals, y'all are not helping. 1. What's the ordered pair for the x-intercept then? 1, 0. How do we get a y-intercept? So 3 times 0 minus y equals 3. So that's just negative y equals 3. How do I solve for y? Divide by negative 1. Y equals what? Does everybody get y equals negative 3? Be careful of those signs. Okay, what's my ordered pair for my y-intercept?
0, negative 3.
0, negative 3. Yeah, there's a problem. There are people talking when I'm trying to go over problems. I'm trying to get done, and it's not going to get me done if people are talking when I'm talking. All right, so how do we graph intercepts? Where are they going to be? The x-axis and the y-axis, right? Where's 1, 0 at? X-axis. Where's 0, negative 3 at? Y-axis. And raise your hand if, oh, that's ugly. Raise your hand if yours looks like mine, but prettier, probably. Oh, that's really crooked. But you get the gist. You got to have points in the right spot. That's all I care about, right? And put arrows on it. All right. That is the end of notes for today. I apologize again for technical difficulties. Hope you enjoyed it anyway.